It's Monday, September 15th, 2025. I want to thank every one of you for tuning in today. If you are not subscribed to this channel, make sure you are subscribed. It costs absolutely nothing. If you're already subscribed and you're not getting notified of the newest videos, make sure you are subscribed. Hit the bell notification down below so that you are alerted when the newest videos drop. But without further ado, let's get into what's happening in the real world today. This first one coming from The Hedge today. Trump inherited a turd of an economy. Ed Dowd warns of panic rate cut cycle. Ed Dowd, believe he's part of a big investment firm, head of an investment firm. Smart guy. I've watched many interviews with him. He's on Greg Hunter quite a bit. In this interview here, he forecasts a very deep recession, global recession that will come true soon, he says. He says his clients are buying gold in land, not crypto. I thought that was very interesting. We know that during the Sleepy Joe era, that the economy was very, very propped up. And one example of that is, well, the 911,000 jobs that were revised. They never existed. They were fake. And so this is another example of just the fraud that has been taking place for many, many years. Somebody wrote in the comments, they made a really, really good point here in this article on The Hedge. $500 billion in deficit spending in August. That's $6 trillion in 12 months. That's absolutely insanity. I would say this. Gold is going to explode and silver is going to go along for the ride. And you really need to be preparing for this because this is going to be extremely, I believe, inflationary. It's going to continue to devalue the dollar. It is going to absolutely decimate people's standard of living. It's going to destroy the middle class. $500 billion in deficit spending in August. That's $6 trillion in 12 months. We're in big trouble, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're protecting yourselves. And unfortunately, for millions of people who didn't heed the warning, they're in trouble. Because yes, gold's getting absolutely outrageous in price, but it's still cheap. But when you compare it to dollars, it's going to take a lot of dollars. Silver is going to begin to get very expensive for people too. Metals had a very, very good day today. We'll talk about that in a second. But you know, people made excuses for the past 7-8 years of why they couldn't buy this stuff when it wasn't too expensive, and now the excuse is it's just too expensive. So while people were partying, spending, trying to impress people they don't know instead of preparing, they're now going to suffer the consequences. TheEconomicCollapse.com. It's a crisis. A whopping 67% of American workers are living paycheck to paycheck in 2025. According to a survey that was recently conducted by PNC Bank, 67% of U.S. workers are now living paycheck to paycheck. A couple points here really quick. This only counts people that have a job. Think about the people who are in government subsidies, Social Security. How many of these people are literally paycheck to paycheck also? Second, we're moving in the wrong direction. This number, 67%, we know it's much closer to 80% when you include everybody else, but it's increasing. The number is increasing. I believe a year prior it was 63%, now it's 67%. And these are people, they're only counting people with a job. What about the people that don't have a job? So again, we look back at the bad decisions made over decades by our politicians. And now we're going to pay the price for these bad decisions. And if you've been making bad decisions over the last few years, you're going to pay the price also. I pray that you still have time. I pray for the people that have the ability, the means. You better take action right now, and you better be making really good, solid decisions right now, because if you don't, you will suffer the consequences, and the consequences are coming, and many people are suffering the consequences now. They're losing homes, they're being evicted, their cars are being repossessed, their bank accounts are negative, they're having a difficult time feeding their children, people are going homeless, people are going bankrupt, so it's going to get much worse. And when things really begin to hit the fan in this country, vast numbers of extremely desperate people will cause tremendous chaos throughout our society. this nightmare is starting to come true, ladies and gentlemen, and you're getting the coming attractions. They're taking place right now. The lights are still on. People are still driving down the highways. The grocery stores are open. People have credit cards. They have access to money. They're going deeper into debt doing it, but people can still feed themselves. They can still function because they have buy now, pay later and credit cards. What happens when this all gets tapped out? You're going to see, I think, very, very dark times in America. And we're beginning to see, again, the coming attraction to all of this right now. And you can see just how violent people are and how violent they can become. Long-term employment at post-pandemic high, straining workers and economy. This is what happens when you get rid of a bunch of non-essential government jobs, when you revise down the 900,000 jobs that didn't exist, and you have a very, very weak economy. You're going to see employment numbers strained. People are losing jobs, no doubt, and many companies just aren't hiring. They don't have to. They have AI, they have robots, they're trimming the fat, they're downsizing, so they're not hiring. And when you look at how many manufacturing jobs we're losing in this country, I think last month we lost 12,000 manufacturing jobs. I just don't get how America is going to stay in the race if we are not making things. If we're just a country of consumption, consumers, and we're consuming with money we don't have. And we are talking now that Wednesday, I do believe we will get a 25 basis point rate cut. It is possible for a 50, but I think it's going to be 25. I think 50 would set off an alarm, and I think that investors or the markets would get very, very nervous with 50. Maybe not, but I think it's going to be 25. I don't think they're going to go 50, but this is just the beginning of more rate cuts, and I don't think that this is going to help the average person. I think it's going to hurt the average person because it's going to cause more inflation. It may be good for the stock market, may be good for the wealthy. It is not going to be good for the majority of this country. Gold soars to new record high ahead of Fed. As I make this video, gold is up $42. It is sitting at $3,692. Now, to all the people out there, many, many years ago, that I know personally, this just not to all of you, but to the people I know, to the people out there that I recommended, my personal associates, friends, you can thank me later. To the people that have been watching this show, you know from day one, I've been an avid supporter of gold and silver because I could see that writing on the wall, just like many of you. And many of you have been buying gold and silver before me. Silver, by the way, up 53 cents today at 42.86. If you don't have this stuff, maybe you should think about getting some of it. If you need it, go to my link down below, SD Bullion. The most reputable company I've ever dealt with, the only company I've dealt with going on almost 8 years now. Phenomenal company, very competitive prices. Go to the website. They may have some deals for first-time buyers, first-time clients. If you have any questions, you can call them. Go to the website. Go to the link down below. You can call them. Tell them Jeremiah sent you. But maybe it's a good time to add some of this if you don't have it. And if you have some of this, maybe you should add some more. Now, this isn't financial advice. I'm just thinking outside of the box. I'm always adding a little bit here and there. But I've been a big buyer of this for since 2013. So 12 years, going on 13 years, and I'm very, very happy that I bought gold and silver. And there was always people out there telling you that this was a barbarous relic. Why would you buy it? It's going down. It's gonna. Gold's going to 800, silver's going to $8. All these people who never wanted you to win. The people who would say, "Oh, JB is promoting SD Bullion." I love SD Bullion. They're a great company. And they called me when this channel had 10,000 subs, and they believed enough in me, and asked if they could, be a sponsor of this channel. And I said, absolutely. And we've had a great relationship ever since. And why wouldn't I recommend something that I believed in? I recommended buying food, buying water, training, having the proper, security tools. having the gold to silver, putting some cash away, having a tourniquet, having a trauma kit. I recommend all these things. But for some reason, people really were hostile that I was promoting gold and silver, something that I had been buying and something that I continue to buy to this day. But for some reason, people have a real issue with gold and silver. And for anybody that bought gold and silver when I began this channel or began advising to buy from SD Bullion, wow, you made some money. You did very, very well. Very, very well. Even if you bought it last year, you did very, very well. But there's always haters out there. And I guess they just don't want you to make money. They don't want you to have wealth, insurance, security, wealth protection for whatever reason. They're just so worried about, SD Bullion and, me promoting SD Bullion. I promote a lot of things, and I promote gold and silver, and you can buy it from wherever you want to buy it from. I just think you should own this stuff. And I think you should own the proper tools for security. I think you should own some food and water. I think that you should own a medical kit. I think that you should own a lot of things that we talk about. You should own a bug out bag. You should own a lot of things, but they don't get mad about that. They get mad because there's a link down below for SD Bullion. But anyways, for the people out there who have been buying from SD Bullion or anywhere else, you've been buying gold, you've been buying silver, how have you done? How have you done over the last 10 years, 8 years, 5 years, 1 year? How have you done? Has it been a bad purchase for you? It's been really good for me. It's been really good to me. And I'll tell you what, after this rate cut, it's going to be a lot better for me. It's going to be a lot better for you. And unfortunately, it's going to be a lot worse for the average American who didn't take action and buy some gold and silver, who didn't pay down the debts, who didn't prepare, who are not preparing to this day, who are still in denial, who are out doom spending. These people are going to have their you-know-what handed to them, and it's unfortunate. Next one, CEO Heidi Petz of Sherwin-Williams suspends 401k matching amid weak sales. She says, unfortunately, customer demand remains soft, and in some cases, or in some areas, it's getting worse. Do-it-yourself demand has been down 3 straight years now. So as the real estate market plunges, people aren't even doing their own do-it-yourself repairs and upgrades in their own homes, let alone buying homes. Not looking good. That's another barometer that the economy is tanking. Here's one from the New York Times. China's snub of U.S. soybeans is a crisis for American farmers. Your thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. Unless China agrees to restart its purchases a part of a trade deal, farmers that depend on that Chinese market will be facing steep losses that could fuel bankruptcies and farm foreclosures around the United States. So many people thought that we were just going to bulldog China, and I'd been saying for quite a while, don't underestimate China. They're much stronger than you think, and many of you already know this. But we look at these new missiles with 12,000 plus mile capability, nuclear. We look at the size of their military. We look at this railroad that they built to Iran. What's going on there? These cities that they have built, the rare earth minerals that they're mining all over the world, the amount of gold that they own, the 4 biggest banks in the world, the biggest military in the world, goes on and on and on. And of course, a member of the BRICS nation. Very, very concerning. China's not going to accept much with this trade deal. China will make the rules now because, in my opinion, unfortunately, this is just reality. China is the biggest economy in the world. They make everything, and they're going to sell it to the rest of the world. And look, they're going to buy soybeans, from South America, Central America, whatever. America is finding out that we're not as strong as we once thought we were, that nations aren't depending on us as much as they once were. Nations are tossing back the US dollars. They're tossing back those treasuries, ladies and gentlemen. They're sick of the weaponization of the US dollar. They're sick of the invasions. They're sick of being told what they can do, what they can't do. And this is going to come back to bite us. And right now, China is working deals all over the world. And these people that say, well, they depend on us. They can't succeed. They can't survive without America. We're finding out that they can. I'll tell you what, we're going to have a much tougher time surviving without China because China makes everything. Everything at that Kohl's, everything at the Marshalls, everything at the Walmart. All those shelves are stocked with goods made in China. So much of our defense relies on these rare earth minerals that we have to get from China. Chips that we have to outsource from other countries. Things for our grid that we have to outsource from other countries, including China. And now they have backdoor technology to our grid because they sold us, you know, these inner parts to our grid and chips, now that they can access and shut our grids down. Not good. Yahoo News. Once booming Santa Monica faces a dire fiscal crisis. We haven't shot a video in Santa Monica in a while, but we were out there, I don't know, what was it, last year? Beautiful city. Once a beacon of economic strength here in Southern California. Once a bustling shopping district, now on the brink of financial crisis. So they've had some major lawsuits take place, major settlement payouts, stores closing, including the big Nordstroms down there, declining tax revenues, and a growing homeless population and crime. All this is a bad combination. And, you know, people probably many, many years ago would think that nothing bad could have happened to Santa Monica. Santa Monica will always be beautiful, wealthy, safe, the best shopping. And these people who think that nothing bad can happen, that, you know, it's impossible for this or that to happen, welcome to 2025. Anything is possible. When people say that could never happen, how many people living in Santa Monica in a $5-10 million house said this could never happen, and now it's happening? When we were in Santa Monica, the amount of vacancies was absolutely mind-blowing. The amount of homeless, people screaming, the amount of police having to deal with the homeless while we were down there in Santa Monica. I think the average home was $2 or $3 million last year. Average median price home, like $2 to $3 million. That's a starter kit. And to see what's going on with the downtown area there, it's startling. Redfin News. The number of Canadians searching for U.S. homes is down 20% from last year. You know, I would say this. This no doubt is going to have an effect on the real estate market here in 2025. I believe that 2025 will be worse than 2024. But we shouldn't really worry about Canadian buyers. We should really be worrying about American buyers. And why can't Americans afford to buy homes? I'm not worried about Canadians. I'm worried about Americans. Americans should be buying homes in America. I'm not worried about Canadians buying homes. I'm worried about Americans buying homes and why they cannot buy homes. Well, prices are way too expensive. Mortgage rates are absolutely normal. We don't need lower mortgage rates. We need lower prices. So when they do cut rates and we see more inflation, I don't think this is really going to help the housing market. I think that it's going to do the opposite. We shall see. But we need to fix this. And how we do I don't really know. I think personally things are going to have to collapse, and we're going to have some sort of reset in order to repair the damage that's been done. But at the end of the day, I'll tell you this, I sure would hate to be a real estate agent right now, because you are dead in the water. Very, very few agents are able to make money in this market. I would say maybe 10% to 15% of the agents in the national market are actually making a living, and 85-90% of them are getting just crushed. And probably well over 70% of them have done 0 deals this year. And you know, the rest of them, maybe they've done a couple deals, made a few bucks, but they're probably working multiple part-time jobs too, just to stay alive. FBI arrests 2 after incendiary device left under Fox 13 News vehicle in Salt Lake City, Utah. Adib Hamad Nasser and his brother Adil Justice Ahmad Nasser, both arrested. I think they were arrested yesterday or the day before. Very, very interesting. Not hearing too much about this, but here we are. Now we got bombs being placed under news vans. Of course, what just happened with the assassination of Charlie Kirk. You got to be careful out there, ladies and gentlemen. You got to be careful out there. And, you know, we talk about security and safety daily. Safety isn't, or security isn't just, having a pew pew. It's training, it's hitting those tactical classes, and it's also being able to protect yourself and your family without a pew pew. What if you can't get to those tools? What if somebody has grabbed a hold of you and is going for a weapon? How do you defend yourself? How do you break loose to get to it, or break loose to get away from somebody trying to get to it? You better have grappling skills. I think grappling skills is one of the best things. If you do carry a weapon daily, if you're licensed to do that, you should have grappling skills. You are more likely going to have that weapon used against you. But it's not just having a pew pew. There's more to safety. There's more to security than just that. You have to think, if I can't get to it, how do I get to it? If somebody's trying to pull it away from me, how do I win this battle? If somebody has their hand on it, do I have a backup weapon such as a blade to use? If somebody gets on top of me and I'm carrying appendix, and they're atop me, how do I break free to get to it? You have got to have defensive skills with your hands as well, with those tools. And many, many other things. You could have cameras, alarm systems. I mean, even, we added the dog, Turbo, who's going to his classes, working on his bite work, working on his obedience. I mean, we're taking this very, very seriously. And I'm getting another dog. So we'll have 2 dogs on the property at all times. And these dogs will continue their training. And I believe that, again, it's just more than just having a pew pew. Because what if the threat doesn't mean that you need to take lethal force? What if it's not lethal force? Can you subdue the person with your hands? I highly advise jiu-jitsu and boxing. And another thing with jiu-jitsu and boxing, you learn discipline, you learn structure, and you learn being in uncomfortable positions and how to get out of them. You learn not to panic. If you're carrying a pew pew and somebody just grabs you or tackles you, and you've never been grabbed or tackled, you're going to be in panic mode. You will resort back to training, which is going back to nothing, and you will probably have that pew pew used against you. People don't want to put themselves in uncomfortable positions. They don't want discipline. They don't want to invest the time. They always have excuses. I got a sore pinky. I got a sore elbow. I got a sore back. Whatever the case may be, you gotta get past this, ladies and gentlemen. And we are heading into something that could be really, really bad here, and you want to put the odds in your favor every possible way. You want to have a chance no matter what situation you're in. If I was like right now, right here, I'm sitting in the yard, there's no pew pew on me here, just a camera, and some crazy golfer attacks me, what am I going to do if I don't have the skills? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to choke that MFer out and break his arm if I have to. But if it was something that resorted something higher, I would have the skills to break loose, get in the house, and go nuclear if we had to go that route. So you got to think about all this. So not everything consists of using a gun. Sometimes you just want distance. Sometimes you may need to get to that weapon. You need to use these, and you need to be comfortable in uncomfortable positions. I cannot stress this enough. The only people that would tell you not to do this are the Twinkie eaters sitting on the couch, the people who have given up, the people that are 100 pounds overweight. And it's not even too late for them. You could get off the couch today. You can go train. You can get into a jiu-jitsu class. You can get into a boxing class. You can go do something. You can go hire a trainer and do all this now. I cannot stress the importance to be doing this right now. Again, the only people that don't want you buying gold and silver and protecting your wealth are the people that have none, that want you to go down with the ship. These are the most unprepared people that want to take you down with them. The people that don't want you training, the people that don't want you to learn how to fight are the same people that don't know how to fight, the same people who are too lazy and too scared to walk through the doors that have and actually take that discipline and put themselves in uncomfortable positions. The only thing you will gain by learning how to fight, the only thing you're going to gain, many things. You're going to gain confidence. You're going to gain more security. You're going to gain just a lot of things. Being comfortable in uncomfortable positions. There's nothing negative. There's nothing negative about it. And everything about it is positive because it gives you structure and discipline. And in that once in a million chance something happens, you're going to resort back to your training and you're going to be fine. You have the odds in your favor and you're going to be able to either diffuse the situation or win the fight. And I think that's extremely important. So there's a lot of things that you're going to add to your repertoire with this. You're going to benefit from it. And again, the only people that don't want you doing this are the people who can't do it, don't want to do it, the people that are afraid to do it, the people who are afraid that you're doing it, because these are the chaotic people that may be coming to your house to take your stuff. So they don't want you preparing. The people that want you preparing are the people who love you, the people who believe you that you love this country, the people that think that something bad's going to happen and like me, I don't want anything bad to happen to you. So I want you at the range, I want you on the mats, I want you in the ring, I want you doing everything in the gym, I want you doing it all. Cannot stress this. I know I'm hammering this more and more, but it's so important because I see a few people out there going, oh, it's a waste of time, it's this, that. Yeah, it's a waste of time until it isn't. So be adding these skills. They're extremely important. Just the conditioning, the physical conditioning that you're going to get in also by doing this. And look, I don't think you're ever too old or too young to start doing this, period. I'll tell you what, 6 months of boxing, 6 months of jiu-jitsu, you're going to be a whole different person. You're going to be a much more difficult person to attack. And you add some range time with that, 6 months of MMA skills, a year, you're going to be a much more confident person and a much more difficult person in the room to kill. That's for sure. I'm going to leave it there today. I don't want to rant. I know I'm ranting, but I don't want anything bad to happen to you. Nothing's foolproof. Nothing's 100%. Most of all, be walking close to God. But God wants you to be a warrior. He wants you to be a spiritual warrior. He wants you to be a physical warrior. Do not be a target. Don't keep making excuses of why you're not doing something. Because when somebody does something to you, when an attacker attacks, he doesn't care about excuses. He doesn't care about your pinky. He doesn't care about your elbow. He doesn't care that you have a sore back today. He doesn't care about these things. What he cares about is hurting you and taking what you have. So you can be a victim or you can be the victor. Take your pick. God bless. Have a good day.